What's going on YouTube? This is ParkerLad88 coming at you with another video. Today I've got something out there for the Vanguard fans. I'm going to be doing a deck profile of my absolute favorite sub-clan, and clan in general, in all of Vanguard, and that is the Blau. So let's go ahead and get started with this deck profile. Haven't done one of these in a while. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with our grade 0 units in the form of our starter. Our starter is Morgenrot. Morgenrot says whenever my Vanguard hits, I can counterblast 1 in order to search the top 3 cards of my deck for a Blau and add it to my hand, or a Blau unit and add it to my hand. This is part of what makes Blaus so good, because they basically can search anything that, they're looking for, or they have the opportunity to search for pieces that they're looking for. This is part of the reason why I don't G-assist. The other reason why is just because I don't G-assist. But this definitely helps legitimize it. I always have the opportunity to get pieces I'm missing. Let's go ahead and move into our grade 3s, starting with the big Boss Daddy monster. Big Boss Daddy unit Vanguard in the form of Galaxy Blau. So Galaxy Blau says that whenever he or any of my Blaus in the front row hit, I counterblast 2, discard 2 to restand his column. Make sure to swing with him first at the Vanguard, otherwise you miss your opportunity to stand him, because if your rear guards swing, your opponent's going to let it go through because he is still stood. So make sure you're careful with that. He's really good at putting on the pressure. Oh, and he's limit break 4. Let's see. Moving into the original Break Ride, we have 3 copies of Mond Blau. Mond Blau's Break Ride ability allows the Vanguard to swing, and when you do, you restand all your rear guards. It's very, very threatening, because especially for dealing with other clans that rely on their rear guards to get things done, you can just take them all, you can swing at them. If they guard them, you can just restand them and then just, knock them all out. So it's a very handy ability. Let's move into full powered Mond Blau in the form of Volmond Blau. So Volmond, whenever you ride him, you counterblast 1, give your Vanguard 1000 power, and then he also gains this ability that if you have 3 or more stood rear guards, then your opponent cannot guard with Sentinels, so no perfect guards. It means they have to either G-guard or just use up all the stuff in their hand. He also has another ability that says you can Soul Blast 1 in order to countercharge, which is really good because this deck is counterblast heavy. The thing I love about the new this new Break Ride is that now Blau have options for dealing with different clans. Like for instance, what's an example? I can't think of a good example of a clan that doesn't really need its rear guards. But basically, it's like now you have the option of putting all the pressure on your Vanguard, on your opponent's Vanguard, and then you have the option to take out all of their rear guards. So I like the flexibility that these two allow. And the reason why I run these at 3 apiece is just to ensure that I have those options, and because the way this deck is now, it wants you to ride over ride. But, when I talk about the grade 4, we'll get more into that. I haven't tested this deck a whole bunch. This is probably more of like a preliminary build. Once I actually test it more, I'll probably have a better idea, because you probably don't truly need this many, but like I said, you need to test it more. Anyway, so that does it for all our grade 3s. Moving into our grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Blau. I run 4 copies because I always want to see him on the Vanguard circle. That is something that will never change. And the reason why is because he gives me free searches. If I hit with him, he's also the best thing to be stuck on grade 2 if you have to be stuck on grade 2. If I hit with him, I can activate Morgenrot's ability to search, and then I activate his ability to unflip damage whenever he hits. So I basically get a free search, so if I whiff, it doesn't cost anything. I always want him. Next up, we have not 3, but 4 copies of probably still the best rear guard that Blau have, which is Blau Trans Am mode, or Mars Blau. It's Blau Trans Am mode. So what he does is whenever my Vanguard hits, I counterblast 1, restand him, and then he gains +5. He's really good in the early game for putting pressure on your opponent's Vanguard, or if they have other rear guards they don't want to get rid of, then he really helps out with that, especially with Blau, because You swing with him, then if Blaukluger hits, you get to restand him after you search, and you get to swing again. So they either have to waste more damage to keep the rear guards alive, or they just have to go ahead and let them die. So he's really, really cool that way. I really like him. And he's also really good behind Galaxy, because you can swing with Galaxy. If Galaxy doesn't hit, you give all your pluses to him. He swings. If he hits, you restand Galaxy. You swing with Galaxy again. If Galaxy hits, you can restand him. It's expensive, but it's just really cool that you can do it. Let's go ahead and move into the next unit. We have 2 copies of Jupiter. Jupiter plus Mars plus Blaukluger is like the dream on grade 2, because you can just put on so much early pressure. Worst case scenario, I love having a 10k that I can put on the Vanguard circle. It just gives me a little extra defensive power. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Moving into one of the new units, we have Uranus. Blaukluger. Uranus Blaukluger says that when you basically ride or stride a Blaukluger over a grade 3 Blaukluger, so let's say that you already have a grade 3 Blaukluger, you either do the stride or you do the break ride, then if he's on field, or basically he gets +5 every time you do that, plus 5,000 power. And then he also has the ability that says when your Vanguard hits, you can counterblast 1 in order to restand him. I believe that's what he says. Let me read it really quick. Yeah, when your Vanguard attack hits. So basically, he kind of takes Mars's abilities and splits them into 2 parts. While Mars says you get everything all at once for the counterblast, the only thing that's counterblast for him is that you stand him. So basically, you can swing with him twice. You get the option, you get the ability to potentially swing with him twice for 14 power base, as opposed to Mars, you swing for 9, and then if you restand him, you swing for 14. So, pretty interesting that way. Alright, moving into our grade 1s. We have 4 copies of our Perfect Guard, Blau Dunkelheit, in both of his artworks. You know what? Both of his glorious artworks. Searchable Perfect Guards are always a good thing. And there's not really much else to say. We have 4 copies of our Geosister in the form of Ereshid. We have 3 copies of the new booster in the form of, get out of here, Neptune, Venus. So Venus is their new booster. It is G-Break Run, which is really easy to get to from like G-Guarding or whatever the heck. That says when one of your rear guards stands due to the effect of your Vanguard, then you can restand him and he becomes a 10k booster. So that's really nice. So you can Mon stand him and he gets the +3, or because we're running Victor units as well in our strides and they restand, he can restand that way too. So it's the best thing I could have asked for. A 7k that turns into a 10k that's searchable by Morgenrot. Next up, we run 2 copies of Neptune. So Neptune says that if I have a grade 3 Blaukluger in the soul and I'm about to go for my stride step, I can toss him and he gains 2 grades. So he's like a Blaukluger themed stride assist, but he's not really that great. He's more of a late gamer. You can't just go grade 3 stride, toss him. You have to be grade 3 on top of that grade 3, because at that point you would have a grade 3 Blaukluger in your soul, and then you toss him for that. The only reason why I run 2 of him is for 2 reasons. One, because the decks are bigger in Vanguard, I don't see a point in only running 1, because it means I'll barely ever see him. Granted, he's searchable, sorta, kinda. And then on top of that, he's a searchable 7k booster. Like, the more things I can search with Morgenrot, the better. Also, when you toss him, you can also call him back from the drop zone and put him on a rear guard space, so he just becomes a booster. So really get late game if you ever get there, but at his worst, he's a searchable 7k booster. At his best, he's still a searchable 7k booster, but he's also a stride assister. And then into our zeros, we run 12 crits in the form of Red Lightning. Red Lightning, you can put him in the soul in order for him to countercharge. We run 4 copies of our alternate art Shining Lady. Oh yeah. And then we run 4 copies of Break Pass. So you didn't see any Victors in my main deck, but we have some Victor strides, and being able to make our Victor units swing for bigger numbers and get, extra hand advantage is always cool. So I'm fine with that. And then we have 4 heals in the form of Regenbogen. When the new, geez, what do they call it? The Collector's Pack, or whatever it's called, that comes out every single year, gives us like the Generation Break 8s and stuff like that. Like, Nova Grapplers are getting another trigger that's supposed to be better than this, so he's probably going to come out at that point. But in the meantime, he's cool, because he just looks so darn cool. So, let's go ahead and move into our extra deck. Let's talk about our Stride units. The first one we're going to talk about is Zone Blau Kluger. And I know it's Zone because I actually went and looked up. Thank you, Google Translate. It stands for sun, by the way. So now we have everything. We have all the plants, and we have the sun. And a couple of black holes. Alright. So, Zone Blau Kluger. Let's talk about him. Whenever he swings, you can counterblast 1 in order to search for a grade 3. Because the idea is that if you're at Limit Break 5, you can, after you swing, you can toss 3 cards from your hand in order to ride a grade 3 from your hand. So the idea is you swing with him, toss 3, then you get to ride on top of your break ride. So you're supposed to break ride over break ride, so your break rides are always live. You do that, and then you can swing with your break ride with your break ride effects. So if Mon's on your circle, then you can swing with him, discard 3, drop another break ride on top of that one, swing with that one, restand all of your rear guards. Or if you're on top of the other one, then the one you place down says, hey, I have all these stood units, your opponent can't, use perfect guards and stuff like that, and then I can countercharge if I need to, which is really neat. Anyway, so that makes him really good. We still have 4 copies of the honorary Blau Kluger in the form of Victoplasma. You get 2 free swing, well, not 2 free swings, but you get to swing no matter what. You don't have to hit, nothing like that. You just swing. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Sorry, I had to read something about Zone. Anyway, moving into our other units, we have 2 copies of Meteor Kaiser Victor. So Meteor Kaiser Victor, he's not my favorite, but he does put your G breaks higher, which I like because it lets me geez, there's some reason. Oh yeah, that's right. It's for the other Victor unit. We'll get to that. Anyway, so he puts you at instant GB2, which is cool. And he has the same effect as Vic-10, where when you swing and you hit, you pick one of your units, stand it, and give it +5. And then if you're at Generation Break 3, then what happens is you just automatically get to pick one of your units to do that. So essentially you can stand 2 things. You can swing at G Break 3, stand a unit, then if he hits, you get to stand another unit, and they both get like +5 because they're both like +5 abilities. This allows me to use the break passes. And then next up, we have Favorite Champ Victor. These are my 0 units, because Victor looks like 0. So, Favorite Champ, I actually only read him 1 time. So, I like it for him, because it actually puts him at G-Break 2. What he does is, at G-Break 2, you counterblast 2, then you can stand units on your field equal to the number of generation break that you're at. You restand them, and then if you stand 3 or more, you can discard X amount of cards from your hand to stand him, and he loses like 2 drive checks. So he gets the option to restand himself, and then he gets to stand like other things. This guy's pretty bonkers. He's pretty bonkers. You only need him at 1 for this deck. 1 copy of Tri-Brute. I never really use him. I just want him there for variety. And then Vic-10. Vic-10 is basically he's Meteor Kaiser Victor, but he doesn't put you at G-Break 2. That's pretty much all to say about it. His effect is exactly the same. Whenever you hit, you get to restand something. And then we have our G-Guardians. We have 2 copies of Meteor Kaiser Uior. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And then we have 2 copies of Righteous Superhuman Blue Prison. So Blue Prison says if you have more damage than your opponent or equal to the same damage, then you gain 5,000 extra defensive power. And then the Meteor Kaiser guy right here, he says that you can either soul charge if you have no soul, or you countercharge if you have no counterblast to counterblast, and then you get +5. He's also he's another handy way that you can countercharge, so you can, do some crazy stuff. It's a very counterblast heavy deck, so it's nice they're getting all these units that give them extra counterblast. Alright guys, that does it for my Blau Kluger. Vanguard deck. Let me know what you guys think of this, and I'll be back to you later with future videos. This is Parker Lad, out.